All right, it is Wednesday, February 16th. We're coming in hot. Paul's coming in from his house, and he's got a fancy new background. And we're talking about service, insights. Let's go.
It doesn't look so fancy in this crop.
Oh, man, I love it. I love. Yeah, he's like, I feel like you're kind of crunched in something, right?
Well,
like the wall is coming in on you. It's okay.
It's a little fancier. There's some light. You can see the pink light now.
There's that pink light.
Oh, hold on. There it is.
Even the gaming seat. This is a whole new level.
Yes. So I had somebody come into the house today to do some work. So, in typical fashion, like I can't just open my laptop in my kitchen. So my son just moved to a new bedroom, and he's, I'm at his gaming desk right now, and he hasn't put like the background up or anything. He's got I was like, I need some LEDs. I have a ring light, but I'm on like a gaming keyboard. So it's really loud. I don't know if you can hear that. It's super loud because that's cool. And but yeah, I feel like I'm in the what the kids are into mode right now.
Yes, I like it. Yeah. So yeah, you're ready to go. You're going to be on Reddit, Discord, and watching Twitch in about 2 minutes.
Already am.
That's great. That's great. All right, we got a lot to talk about today.
Sure do.
Yesterday was really good. I felt like on Clubhouse. There was we had the Minority Motors, and we were talking service, and which is not typically a topic that we talk about a lot, just in general in automotive, right? Everything kind of leans heavy toward the sales environment and
leadership, sales,
leadership
right,
and stuff like that, right? But there were some really cool insights on the service side. I got to share some of the cool stuff that we were able to do when I was with Nelson, and it's still happening, and just some ideas around retention and customer service. And I think that's a conversation that I'm still surprised just doesn't happen more in our industry.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see the replay, you can go, we're going to link it up in the show notes here on the live stream and the podcast. You can go through, you can play it at 1.5 speed. It's the great thing when we turn replays on. I suggest that you do it. One of the things I think my biggest takeaway was the importance of a technologist in the dealership, period, not just in service, but somebody that can connect all the dots together from all these technology platforms. And a technologist, not only that can connect the platforms, but that understands customer experience. That was talked about quite a bit. And, for me, that moved right to the top of the pile, like needing technologists in automotive dealers. And if not full-time, because it's expensive to have someone full-time, definitely some way where you have a technologist that can help you put the pieces together. That was my big takeaway. So you should listen to that. Link is in the show notes.
Yeah, it's really good. We got Pitch Tank coming up today. We got a few companies coming there. Women Inspiring Automotive, all things used car on Friday. It's just Clubhouse has been really, I feel like, re-energized. And so if you're not in there, get in there, enjoy it. You can listen to replays, all of that type of stuff. But the insights are really captivating. And I love just the fact that it's a conversation and not just, a lot of times we get into this mode or we're listening to podcasts, but you can actually engage and start to, like, hey, what about, and, some of the most discoverable insights and like self-discovery happens in there.
That's how you figure stuff out. That's how you figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can go, by the way, we didn't mention, you can go to ASOTU.club. Easy. Right. ASOTU.club, and you can see the rooms that are scheduled and jump in.
Speaking of figuring things out. Oh, I missed the
close. Just a little empty hammer.
Figure things out. We said yesterday in the podcast that myself, Ben Hadley, we were having this conversation around who really won the Super Bowl, and so Ben did some work. He was fancy
specifically who won the Super Bowl ad competition.
Because
we know who really won the Super Bowl.
If the Bengals didn't win, then we're just going
to accept it. Right? Who really won, though?
But who really won the commercial game, and specifically in the EV side, it was quite clear that the commercial game for the Super Bowl was the crypto and EV bowl for sure, right?
Yep.
And so we had this kind of thought, and so Ben did the research of, hey, maybe the real winner of the actual EV game was not the people that ran the commercials. It was more another player, right? And the insights are, so you can go to ASOTU.com. It's in our featured articles right now and read up like all of the insights. Ben did some insights on like actually looking at Google Trends and seeing like when search volume increased. But essentially what happened was in a period of about 2 hours after the Super Bowl and the commercials were run for the Silverado EV, the Polestar EV, and a couple others that he referenced in there. The real winner was Tesla searches. So things like Silverado versus Tesla, Polestar versus Tesla, and even just core Tesla searches were like a massive spike, and they didn't even run a single ad. How crazy is that?
Well, it's because Tesla has done the work to build. I mean, obviously, they're the largest EV manufacturer, right? They've done the most, but they've also done the work to build their brand over a long period of time. I feel like this is like a two-sided insight here. One,
Yeah,
right? The insight on like, hey, when you have to advertise, you get attention, right? But the long-term brand impact. Think of how people are always like, well, how do I monetize building my brand? How do I monetize building my brand? Because it's a long game. It's not a 30-day response, right? How can people know my name, know who I am, me generate a certain feeling in them that I'm in their mind and in their heart ultimately is
right.
where you want to be. And here's a great plain example. Tesla didn't spend $1 at the Super Bowl, but they got what is combined, right? Millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of attention because they've been building brands. So they monetize the brand building attention in that moment. But very similar to like what Carvana did last year when Vroom ran their ad. We talked about it yesterday.
Same thing. Yep.
Vroom runs their ad, and guess what? Who gets more traffic? Carvana.
Yep.
Didn't
Vroom
spend
versus
$1.
Carvana. Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I think so. The actionable piece, I keep on trying to think like, okay, so I'm a dealer. I'm listening to this.
What do I do?
What do I do about that? Okay, so when you think about like market forces closing in, you already see the market leaders or the potential new players in the market coming, and it's at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, there will be someone that runs a commercial or puts out an ads campaign or does something that's like, I mean, think about if you would have been ahead on creating a why around your salespeople and Carvana started saying you don't need salespeople anymore. What's the difference between Carvana and having a salesperson, right?
Yep.
If you were to write content and brand build around that 5 years ago, you would have been the market leader for the best place to buy a car because of salespeople, right?
Yep.
And so what are the things that are your unique selling propositions that if someone else tries to acquire that USP, right? Which for this instance, it was like the USP is us being an EV
And
player.
that's a unique
right?
selling point, by the way.
Right. So like, what is it about your people, what you do that is so unique that if someone tried to enter the market on it, you should have it cornered from a thought leadership perspective, from a brand perspective, all of that type of stuff in the next 1 to 3 years, right? That's the stuff you need to write about. That's the stuff you need to talk about. That's what your commercials get to be about. And then when someone tries to disrupt that, you actually are the market leader in it.
That's right. And you can push back. We talked about it
Right.
earlier, but for those of you who didn't hear it, when we say push back, right? Dealers pushing back and pushing back. What we mean is pushing back on the market forces that are encroaching, that are trying to break down the gate. And when we're paying attention to these things broadly, right, we're more enabled and empowered and emboldened to push back against them. So
Right.
this is one of those moments, right? Paying attention to this enables us to think forward a little bit and be ready, prepared to push back when the push comes, and maybe even take a little ground before there's some pushing. That's what I'm hoping for.
take some ground. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Hold the hill, basically. Right.
So
Well, we've got a couple other things, and you kind of brought up a few things that are kind of trending toward and leading toward just kind of a resuming of some semblance of normal, right? At least in like the community building aspect of life. So talk about that. Talk about Airbnb. And
we had a conversation, you and I, we were at a conference and we had lunch with Alex Vetter, and we were talking about automotive doesn't really have any other markets to look at for indicators because most people look at automotive as an indicator,
Right.
for how people are thinking and feeling. There are two things. I saw two articles that kind of play together, so I wanted to include them in today's shows. The first one is the fact that Airbnb has experienced a major rebound, and not only in like pre or pandemic, declines in bookings, but they for the first time have exceeded pre-pandemic booking levels. So
Wow.
what I think that's an indicator that people are, but they're saying that people are already booking summer rentals, summer vacations, right? They're staying for longer periods of time. I think it's an indicator of the mindset and the willingness of people to resume normal life, right?
Yep.
When you're booking and you're traveling, guess what? You're not afraid. And I think that that's a good leading indicator that we as automotive can look at and say, okay, right? The retail market is thinking forward again. Now, obviously, we're trying to catch up our inventory, but still in
Right.
the used car market and how we approach them, right? We can start talking in our marketing and our sales about things like vacations and things
Yes.
like
That's
travel.
great. Yep. Yeah, no, that's really good. Like paying attention, that almost just that speaks to what we were just talking about, right? Okay, so if everybody's already thinking travel, like we don't need to wait till May to talk about summer plans, right?
No,
And so maybe it's not talking about the oil change, but it is talking about the beach vacation. It is talking about, headed to Colorado, whatever it may be, but you're talking to the culture and what they are demanding out of other retail sources. So I think that's a really great indicator, especially in those markets where yeah, I think about like winter markets that are really cold, that are
like
like
mine.
they're just like, please get me to the summer,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Look, I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw grass seed and lawnmowers in Costco this weekend. Granted, it was like 6 degrees yesterday morning when I woke up. But when you walk in Costco and you see grass seed and a little outdoor furniture, something happens in your heart, right? Like it's this
Yes.
hope, like, oh, we're almost there.
I
We're
think,
not almost there.
oh, how good would this ad be right here, right? Someone in like the Northeast, maybe it's snowy outside, right? And all they do, like if it's a Jeep dealer, I'm thinking a Jeep dealer, right? You got someone standing in a tank top and shorts with a surfboard on the Jeep Wrangler,
On a
right?
snowy
With the
car.
top down and snow everywhere. And like the ad is like, thinking about summer, we are
Yes.
too, right? And
Yes. I
boom,
love
you're
it.
like, yeah, I need the Jeep for this summer, right?
Right. I mean, talk about generating a feeling in somebody. When we talk about brand, we talk about
Yes.
it's the feeling you generate. That's an awesome one. Another article that kind of went hand in hand with that. I saw, I think that this was like, I don't know, MSNBC or something. But basically it was an announcement by the major summer festivals. So Coachella primarily and Stagecoach, two giant music
Right.
festivals, multi-day, right? Think people listening to music, enjoying the outdoors, right? Having a great time together, large groups. They are dropping all restrictions, all COVID restrictions are being dropped by those two festivals. I think, whether or not you're like fully on board with like, yeah, let's drop everything, or like,
Right.
let's still be careful. Regardless, I think this is another indicator that not only people being ready to get back to life as normal, but other large companies and organizations planning for it. We're starting to
Yes.
normalize accepting the situation we're in, moving to post-pandemic, moving to
Yep.
endemic, moving to like, hey, we're going to have to learn to live with this. And it's not going to dominate us. I think that's good for everybody in retail. I think it's great news for conference season and, the NADA show. I think it's just those two together. We're like, these are good indicators. We should talk about them.
Yes. Yeah. And it makes me even more excited for the NADA show. We actually had another conversation yesterday of just like, what's the energy going to feel like around that? How are we going to roll in? Right. You keep referring to the pirate ship showing up at the door, and we're just going to come in and just have a whole bunch of fun. Right. And engage people. So if you're a dealer or if you're a vendor partner and you're like, we've got something to share and we want to share it in a fun and new way, we'd love to hear from you. So you can hit us at crew@asotu.com. And yeah, we'll make sure and respond and reach out so we can schedule that time, because we just want to share what's going on good in our industry, and the things where people are collaborating and pushing back together and not just in silos.
Yeah. And if you're a dealer, reach out to us as well. Let us know you're going to be there. We'd love to get you on and hear your insights and your thoughts. Maybe get you some ASOTU swag and have an otherwise great time. We are also, so we're going to be covering the show. We're bringing a team of 6. We're going to be producing all types of content. So if you're not going to NADA, stay close, because if you can't be there, you should be watching the content we're going to put out. We're going to do our best job to be your peeps on the street. We're going to do live streams, give you content. We want you to feel like you're there, and minus all the wasted time. We want to give you the very best and brightest of the NADA show. And we will also we just found out we got press credentials for the Automotive News Retail Forum the Wednesday before the show. So we're going to be there, celebrate the 40 under 40. One of our resident troublemakers, Erica Tiffany Wells, is going 40 under 40, and she is the lead guest at that event. So wow, so cool. I told her, I was like, I don't think you understand how big of a deal that is. Like, it's a hard stage to get on. So we're going to be there in full force. Stay tuned to our content because we're going to bring it to you as hard as we can.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap for today. Hey, if this is something that you love, share it with somebody. Please. The more people talking and communicating and us wrapping our arms around, the better. Go out there, serve someone today, and get busy.